But I was thinking about stepping the game up.
Gotta. You need like a lint brush.
Yeah,
Maybe start with a lint brush.
I didn't wash this shirt, so.
That would be the first step.
This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 30 of The Real Word. Wow. You know, my daughter does that all the time. She goes, wow. She just learned how to do that.
I don't blame her. There's some things that are just worth a little wow. We hit 30.
This main topic is going to wow you.
I feel like it's, yeah.
Nicole, you get so like...
I love it.
It's like you can't talk about the same thing more than once.
No, go ahead. I love talking about the same things over and over again.
This is new news, right? This is like a new wrinkle to the story.
A new wrinkle.
A new wrinkle.
It's a new racket to the...
Opendoor raises $325 million in the Series E round. The iBuyer announces plans to reach 50 markets, 50 by
That's potentially
2020.
one per state.
It could be. It could be.
It won't be, but...
No, it won't be.
Because I guarantee you they want nothing to do with the Connecticut market.
Oh, you like just pushing them out of here? Nah, Opendoor. You don't need to come to CT. Dude, $325 million is a lot of dough.
Yeah,
why do you
people
think...
are believing in it. People are clearly believing in it. They're seeing value. They're thinking it's going somewhere. They've obviously been listening to Byron Lazine's podcast every week, pushing this.
I'm not pushing Opendoor, by the way.
No, you're not. But I think that you're obviously opening up people's eyes.
I'm 100% ready for the future of like what's coming.
I can't wait for the future.
Right now they're in 10 markets: Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Vegas, Orlando, Nashville, Phoenix, North Carolina,
I think we should
San
go.
Antonio, and Tampa.
I think we should go there. I think we should go in there. Hop in those.
Which one do you want to go to?
I don't know. I don't know. Someplace where it's just like, maybe it's like
Atlanta, Tampa, Vegas.
I've never been to Vegas.
Dallas.
We've done Phoenix
Orlando.
already.
You do Orlando.
Well,
I'll be in Orlando later this year, so I'll pop in on an Opendoor.
What are you doing in Orlando? Like Disney World?
We're going to do a Disney day.
Fun. You love fun. You're doing Disney?
And since Disney's not fun, it's right up my alley.
Wow. So let's do it. I'd love to just be, again, I think we've talked about this before because our market is so different from these city markets. I'd love to just like hop down there and hang out for a couple days and see what Opendoor is really doing and like how it works. Maybe you and I can go like on a little Opendoor tour. Oh, we could do like an Instagram story Opendoor tour.
Absolutely.
That would be freaking kick-ass.
Dude, I would 100%
see how easy it is when it's doing. I'd actually love to see what kind of condition they're in. Like who's like, because I mean, homes get dirty as people are like coming in and out. Like I just would love
I would
to
like
see
to see if they're staying clean, if they're in a good condition to start. Obviously, they're listing a lot of homes. What caught me in
Do we know how many
series
homes they
of
have
funding,
currently listed? Was that in the article?
Yeah, I have a phone call coming in, but
we'll just
I'll
decline
tell you in
him.
a second.
He can wait.
Yeah, I'll decline.
He'll write a song about it or something.
Look at this, another call. Jesus. But what caught me on this is that they're now going to get into title and to lending services.
Well, they have to get into title because there's so many states that do, in Connecticut, we don't do title searches. We have attorneys for all of that. But like in Florida, like they're in Orlando, like they have to be doing title.
They're purchasing $2.5 billion in homes each year, up 225% year over year. The company also said that 20,000 buyers and sellers have transacted with Opendoor. I do not know.
And mortgage,
how many
in all
listings
honesty,
they have
is
today.
where all the money is.
Right.
That's where all the money is. Like any real estate company that then starts a mortgage company, their mortgage company is 100% supporting the real estate end.
And these guys own the home, so their return on that side is going to be a little bit better than your typical brokerage.
And then they can just reinvest it back into purchasing. I mean, it's the right move. I mean, again, anybody that's in real estate, I mean, that's where your money's at.
They've now raised $645 million and $1.5 billion in debt financing. The valuation north of $2 billion.
Wow.
So that puts them basically at the same valuation or very close to Realogy, right? Which Realogy is not buying anything. You see Berkshire Hathaway buying up a bunch of people this year. This is right about the same value as Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
Yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Interesting. Because, do they even have, I wonder how much they've even done in sales. Like, holy. You know, like, because their
Regardless,
value obviously is just based on what their
I'm gonna-
investors are investing. But
I'm
like,
going
what
to
if
keep
they?
saying it till I'm blue in the
I
face,
kind
though.
of want to
like,
know where like that money's going. Like, what's their marketing plan? Like, I kind
where
of
the
want
money's going. It's going into the houses. So I'm going to keep saying it till I'm blue in the face.
blue. Oh, look, it'll match your blue
Yeah.
Saratoga.
Don't shut a label.
No.
No. Don't
Why?
shut-
Is that
Because
against the
I
law?
don't know if we can get in trouble for that.
Maybe they'll throw you some more.
I'm going to keep saying until I'm blue in the face. You've got to pay attention to this. This is going to change how you as an agent out there have to show your homes. If I'm a buyer and I can see property from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. through Opendoor, I don't want to see your listings anymore because I don't want to schedule with somebody like Nicole or somebody like Byron. I just don't want to do it if I'm a buyer. It's annoying. It's got a lot of friction. And it's,
Do you get to just walk in? Like,
you get to just
you don't
walk.
even have to put in a
Yeah,
request.
you get to you have to put in the request.
Yeah.
And then you can walk in. You can be outside the house and finish the request. The house is open from 6 to 9.
Yeah.
And you just get in. No talking to Nicole and her schedule and worried about like, oh, I have a showing and I have an inspection. Go yourself, Mrs. Agent. I'm walking right into this deal. I don't need you. And that's what people need to pay attention to.
But you know what? That house blows because Miss Nicole White wasn't there to like wow them.
Dude, that really doesn't get any... It doesn't get the deal done. It does in your case.
I was just joking. Of course. That's fun, though. I would totally do that. So let's pick Charlotte. Maybe we do Charlotte.
Charlotte?
Yeah, we were picking a. No, we love Charlotte. Smile.
I love Charlotte.
We love Charlotte. So let's
thrilled to go there.
So let's go to Dallas then. I liked Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas would be good.
Dallas, because I really actually want to go over down to. I'd love to check out Austin, and then maybe I can drag you over, and we can go visit like Chip and Joanna.
Okay, let's get into the rackets because
Okay.
that was just a racket. What you just said right there. So that's a good segue. All right, racket number 1. Agent fined nearly $3,000 for excessive open house signage. Is this a racket or what?
I love it. I think it's awesome.
You think it's not a racket?
I think
Tell
it
me
is
why.
a racket. I don't know. Well, we were sort of arguing about it before because Byron loves newspaper ad, but he's.
Yeah.
I think it's equivalent to that. I really do. I think that putting out signs is a kind of equivalent to that. I think with 18 signs. So again, I do see both sides of it because obviously my job is to, right? Our job is always to get as many bodies into our sellers' homes as possible. Agents, buyers, lenders, neighbors. Like I love neighbors. So I do get the idea of it that the signs could potentially bring in more people. But I guess in this situation, I don't know that it's like, is it like a waste? Are we like, are you paying attention?
Yeah,
What are you
I'm
doing
paying
over
full
there?
attention.
Okay.
More open house signs only increases the chances as you, the agent, of putting your brand out there in front of your
But
local
to get fined
geographic town.
$3,000 for putting out signs.
Well,
Woo!
granted, if this
Dude, that
individual,
open house was not worth it.
and we're gonna link up the article. Where was that from? That
Realtor.
was from Realtor.com.
Yeah.
You know, if that agent knew that, okay, if I put out this many signs, and he only put out, or she only put out 18 open house signs, which,
$250 per sign.
so basically the rule was you can't do open house signs in this town.
I don't know the answer to that question, but it does break down what they were charging per sign. I don't know how many signs. I guess if we did the math, it really wouldn't be 18 because that would bring you
They
more.
dropped the total fine to $500 after you push back.
But 250, I mean, so he probably could only have 10 because you figure it's about $3,000. So he was probably able to have 9 because it sounds like he was maybe being charged for maybe 12 if I do the math really quickly in my head.
He never had a warning, so that's why the town, and this was in Huntington Beach.
Right.
You know, so Huntington Beach, similar to that article we found for here locally in Connecticut, Connecticut town bans for sale signs.
For sale
in
signs.
front
Now
of
we're getting
homes.
rid of the for sale signs.
But Huntington Beach and New Canaan, Connecticut are very similar in their bougie ways.
Bougie.
That, you
we
know,
love
they're
you,
just-
New Canaan.
Of course we do. I love my
Love
bougie
you.
peeps. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
I have a buyer from New Canaan right now.
Of course,
buying in
100%.
our shoreline town.
But the deal is these types of towns
Yep.
don't want to see for sale signs. They don't want to see open house signs. It's like if you go to a private community, you know, many of which that we know, some of them don't allow for sale signs.
So and in some of these instances, I kind of agree. I think that there's many times too where, especially if you're in like a neighborhood where it's like turning over, I guess the big concern too is you drive down this road and you see like 5, right? Like you pass 5 for sale signs on the road, and being a listing agent of one of those 5 too. I mean, buyers are probably like, hey, like realtor, like why are there 5 homes for sale on this road? Is there something going on this road that we're not aware of?
And that's what it talks about here, right? It says there's people fleeing high tax areas like Connecticut, and they're going to different parts of the country.
It's actually an interesting idea. Get rid of the for sale signs so people don't realize like who's selling.
Because when you're on Zillow, it's very tough at times to figure out exactly how many people are for sale in comparison to, the rest of the inventory or competing towns.
Right.
But when you're literally physically on the street and there's 5, I mean, I'm thinking of Hammock Road right now in Clinton.
Right.
It's a local street in our market. It's a dead-end street that goes down to the water. There are literally 6 or 7 for sale signs every single year since Sandy on this road. There are 6 or 7 for sale signs right now on the road. And then sellers are like, how come my house isn't selling? Because everybody on your road wants out at the same time.
Right.
That becomes a problem for buyers,
and
uncertainty.
Right. And then especially with buyers going in there, why is everybody selling? Like, why is everybody fleeing? What does that then do to my value? Absolutely. So in that instance, I guess I agree. Obviously, selfishly, we would love to be able to keep for sale signs up because it obviously is more brand awareness. And sometimes when I'm on a tour, it's kind of nice just to see the for sale sign just to make sure you're walking to the right house.
But I'll say this, and Kyle Whistle in San Diego does a great job of throwing true mega open houses. He gets 60 to 70 people at almost every open house that he throws. And he does 40 to 50 signs at his open house.
But we have to be very specific, though, because like a mega open house is something very different than just like a normal like.
But why would, understood.
Yes.
Why, as an agent, would you want to throw anything other than a mega open house? Why would you want to throw a lazy open house, which is this? I show up 5 minutes before. I put a for sale by or a open house sign-in sheet at the door, and I've had it on the MLS, and then I leave 5 minutes early because I want to, go to happy hour.
So we're throwing. So are you saying right now on film that you're doing mega open houses every time you do?
We're not doing mega open houses. This is an area.
But like,
of
isn't the
weakness
mega open houses like there's like food trucks and like it's like balloons and like
and I'm not saying you gotta do a food truck every time.
Face painting.
What I'm saying
like,
is we're leaking on our open houses. Yeah. Admittedly, we're doing, anywhere from 6 to 10 open houses as a team a weekend, and we're probably doing more than the competition. But we're not doing enough. We're not capitalizing on these opportunities enough. We're not doing Facebook Live every single time. We're not door knocking the neighborhood every single time. And inviting people. Like, these are things that you should be doing on every single open house.
Right.
And so it's an emphasis that we're going to take, documenting it right now, like to up our game.
Right.
But certainly the more open houses from an agent's perspective, the better, because you're branding yourself in your local area.
Yeah.
And you're only increasing your chances. To your point,
I would love, Whistle, though, to ask those people when he's getting all those people in, like, maybe have them fill out, like, a little card so that even for his, maybe he already does this.
How many people saw one of their 40, 50 signs?
Well, no, not saw them, but did you come because of a sign? Did you come because of a Facebook? Like, let's see where your ROI is on it, right? Like, I'd love to know, because I have the social media parties. I never put out an open house sign anywhere that leads anybody there.
So your open house, your reveal open house on the House of Social Media is a mega open house.
Yes.
And it's through obviously months leading up of advertising. You're getting 600-700 people to show up to these things. Granted, in that instance, I don't think the 40 or 50 signs is going to do anything. People are seeing the cars at your open house if they're in the area and they're like, what's going on over there? I'm going to go check that out anyway.
Well,
the cars end up being...
Maybe, but I mean, if you see cars at someone's house, you're not like, sweet, like I'm going in that house.
But,
I'm going to hit up that party.
But you do... Yeah, I guess you don't have an open house sign for any of those.
No.
Nothing.
It's
interesting. And so
I'd love for Whistle to chime in here.
Well, so you think this
is whoever
so you think open house signs are a total racket?
I'm not saying that all of them, but like 18. I mean,
take a stance.
Are
they a racket or not a racket?
I think that it's
racket or not a racket.
I think it's a little bit of a racket. I do.
A little bit, or it's a racket?
It's a flipping racket.
It's a flipping racket.
Dude, 18 signs in my market. I mean, I'm dragging people from different towns to my open houses if I'm putting out 18 signs.
No, because you could have an intersection put 4 signs instead of 1. Because you're more likely to drive through an intersection and see one of the 4 than you are the 1.
So if we're multiplying on corners, I'm fine with that because I do that shit all the time. I'll put even 2 open houses at the end of a driveway. So it's like, this is the driveway. Like, welcome to the home. But like 18, I mean, we were talking about it before and you were angry at me, but it's like, I just feel like you're also directing people like to an empty house that like, here's Nicole waiting for you to enter.
If you're going to be afraid of doing an open house, then you should not be.
I'm not afraid. I think, you know where I am.
I think that every agent should try to have a lender with them. I think it's ridiculous to do an open house alone for a variety of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
All right. Racket number 2. $1 listings. Would you list a house for $1?
I kind of want to just list my house.
For $1?
See what happens. How cool would that be?
Be awesome.
Bless these people's heart. I mean, I think it's genius. So right before I got
this is in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They listed a house for $1.
So right before I got into real estate, so that was maybe like 8 years ago. And the only reason I kind of like know about it is because like I feel like it must have just sort of ended right when I got into it, because all the agents in my office would always talk about like schweppying, like they would do like a schweppy.
A schweppy?
You ever heard of like a schweppy listing?
Mm-mm.
They would drastically. I mean, they wouldn't list it for $1, but they would list it so far under market value. Google it. I think it's called schweppy. Like
schweppy?
Yeah, they were always talking about like, oh, I'm going to schweppy this listing, whatever. They would list it drastically underneath to try to bring. I mean, they wouldn't go to $1.
Every listing I take, I talk about, hey, you can list over, you can list at market value, you can list below market value.
No,
obviously
this
3
was
things are going to happen. But
like a schweppy is like you're
really going for it.
You're doing it like
going for a schwepper.
Yeah, we'll have to Google it. It's kind of a fun word.
I think you definitely made that word up.
I swear I didn't.
All right, so
I love the idea of a $1 listing. I'm going to Google schweppy right now.
It's essentially like auctioning the house off, right? And you may have been familiar if you do a lot of luxury listings with like concierge auctions. They're a great company out of Austin. CEO Laura Brady, shout out to you. You're amazing. Amazing company.
Love it.
So essentially,
and wait, shout out to their sellers though. They were able to get their sellers to actually trust them enough to. I mean, that's a battle all in itself.
I mean, this listing, and you can go through. We're going to link this up. This is Realtor.com as well. This was actually sent to me by somebody in the music industry.
Oh, he called you before. He's writing you a song.
That's okay. And I thought it was very interesting too. I like the strategy, but this is a high-end home in Oklahoma. You can tell by the photos. This is super high-end, which means there's probably few buyers, right? If you got super luxe in a market, there's going to be a limited amount of buyers. Maybe there's a limited amount of showings, and they want to spur some type of interest.
Dude,
it doesn't mean you have to accept an offer.
That would be a sick open house.
That would create
that's
talk about
a
mega open house. How many signs do you think you need for a $1 listing?
0. You would need 0 open house signs for a $1 listing. You throw that thing on the market for $1 and then you say you can't come until the open house. Dude, you're golden. Like you're good.
Home is under contract in less than a week. And listen, ultimately we all know what the price. I mean, like I love having the conversation like what's somebody's home's worth. It's worth what a buyer's going to pay. Right? And so this is a beautiful example of the marketplace playing out.
Right.
Like people are going to put in their offers of what they feel the home is worth. Now, you own the property. You as the seller, you don't have to accept these offers. Mm-hmm. You better know and have a strategy going in. So you better have a top negotiator. Like if you're going to do that strategy, you better be listing with a top negotiator.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. You really better understand what the strategy is going to be
like
as these offers.
Or even like a top marketer, though, too. I mean, you can't even just throw a $1 listing on MLS. I mean, because there's going to be that agent's going to be so bombarded that there has to be almost like a team behind them that's like managing the calls, managing the leads.
You need to manage the transaction. You need to manage the message.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you don't want to get this $1 listing out to. You don't want to get it out. Right. Like this is a luxury property. You don't want to get it out to people that can afford $100,000 because now you're going to be filtering through 100 plus, $50,000 offers. Literally you're going to have $10 offers. People are going to think it's funny.
Well, but they probably can't afford the taxes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love it.
So
that is not a racket.
It is not a racket. I think it's a brilliant strategy.
And again, props to them for actually getting those sellers to agree because that could be pretty scary, I'm sure.
Racket number 3, golf course closures could spur construction. A lot of C's, man. I'm surprised I didn't get tongue twisted on that.
Wow, you're right. And S's. Oh, that was just one S. But anyway.
I went down to West Palm in Florida a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Naples, as I do in the winter often. I went over to West Palm. I met with a seller who had a approved golf course development here in Connecticut. He wanted to list the property. He goes, listen, Byron, it's not going to be somebody that's going, even though we have approvals in place for a golf course, it's not going to be somebody that's going to develop a golf course. I said, why is that? He said, because 100 plus golf courses are closing in this country, net, on top of the ones that are opening, net in this country per year.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at the numbers, it says that it went from 30 million players to 20 million in really just over 10 years.
So between 02 and 16, it dropped, to your point, 10 million regular golfers.
And they're saying that it's not coming back. Like, you're not getting golfers back.
Think about it. And when I went to high school, I know right now in Guilford, where you and I both live, like lacrosse is like the sport. That's like the thing, right? Lax it up. When I was in high school, in my school, you didn't even hear about lacrosse, right? So like I think, and that's just one example of like how many. What's the other thing that thing pickleball?
Pickleball's
is
huge.
that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, again,
that's like
we
a
got
big
him.
deal.
He's always. I mean, it's funny. He even shows videos, like, because he puts in pickleball and tennis courts, and he'll even show videos because like he'll have a pickleball court next to tennis courts, and the tennis court is completely empty. In the pickleball court, there's like people waiting. They're like hanging out. It's like a competition. Like,
think about how many games you can play now, whether it's an e-sport through your phone, like physical activities, like, you know, I think what Instagram's done for hiking is incredible, like, because everybody wants to go to the top of the mountain and take a selfie. Like, there's so many ways to spend your time. Like it's just a time, like, trade-off. Like, if you don't, golf is an all-day event.
All day.
Especially, like, if you're doing it, like, old school with, like, the good old boys. Like, they're like, hey, Byron, come out golfing. Like, I'm like, great. Can we start at, like, 6:30 a.m. so I can be done No, we're going to start at 8:30, 9.
It's funny, though, because
we're going to have lunch. We're going to have 3 beers.
Well,
it's like, dude, this is all day, dude.
I think and I think a lot of people that are good businessmen, though, too, also have multiple memberships at other golf courses in order to
just hang out in the bar?
No. I think they're doing it in order to, like when you're trying to, like, recruit or just, like, build
bring
a
somebody
relationship.
somewhere.
Right. So I think that's probably the memberships that they're seeing right now. I will say, though, that there is actually a few golf courses that I'm aware of in our state, though, too, that have actually and the towns have luckily been smart enough about staying ahead of this potential, where the towns are now buying actually the development rights. So the golf course still owns.
So if someone's going to develop, they've got to come through the town.
They have to.
And make a deal with the town.
And they've made money. Like, the town has purchased these development rights.
Makes sense.
So then at least the town can regulate, or at least, so it's not all of a sudden 1,000, new, because obviously that's going to affect the entire town in terms of infrastructure.
Of course.
Cops, schools, can they handle that?
The average 18-hole golf course sits on 150 acres. And at standard densities. Wow, that was a tough word for me.
Wow.
That's enough space for 600 single-family detached homes. So is it a racket that it's going to spur construction or not? Do you think that these closures are going to help developers be like, that's the piece of land I've been waiting for?
I do.
That's ultimately what it comes down to.
I do think that if golf courses become available, developers will develop them. I mean, I think it'll all come down to, like, your absorption. There's no flipping way that you can build 600 homes and actually maybe sustain that. But instead of maybe living up to the potential, maybe you scale back and do like 200 or 300. But I think it would be a great. I think I mean, it's land. Like, what developer wouldn't buy?
And it's
multiple acres of land.
It's
if
typically
they could build.
good quality land.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The grass is like.
It's usually.
Hello. I mean.
Besides the grass, Nicole, it's usually located in a really good spot.
Yeah,
whether it's waterfront. But I mean, like, obviously the best golf courses this isn't going to happen to. So then you're getting into a point like, which ones are closing? Are you not in the best area? What types of homes can you put there? And so there's a lot there. Yeah, I think it'll spur some construction, but I think it's a racket to think that this is going to create some type of boom.
No, I don't think it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, gosh. There's only so much you can keep, like, building, and then, like, where the people. And
I think what it does speak to is where our attention spans have shortened, right? Like, golf is shrinking because of our attention span. Same thing with, like, baseball. Like, if, like, talk to me in 10 years. Tell me where baseball is in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think you're right, because people that play baseball are now playing lacrosse. Same season. They're all
100%.
moving over for shizzle.
All right, so that's a racket.
Such a racket.
Hey, by the way,
Yes?
actually, if you don't know, because it just happened, on Instagram, go and check out the
Rackets.
handle, The Rackets.
We're
It's got
there.
a the, right?
It's called the Rackets.
It's called The Rackets.
With Byron and Nicole.
You can follow along every single racket on Instagram. We'll always have our latest episode linked up in the bio. So check that out. Follow us along and drop us a comment if you did that.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever. I mean, I want to know all of it. Open
No,
house signs,
everything.
for sale signs.
Nicole
What are
wants
you
to know
doing?
everything. Tell us about your life story. What
I
you're doing
want
for
to
the
know
week.
about it. I want to know what's working.
All right.
Right?
Check us out next week on The
ya.
Real Word. Thank you.